Hello, sir.
Hi.
So, do you think that all individuals who become parents are equipped with the necessary skills to do so?
It's a very subjective question. I wouldn't say all are equipped, but it actually comes down to the base. How did your parents teach you when you were young? How did they educate you? Because I think they become the example as you grow older, and usually children they just follow their parents, living with them every day, how they treat them, how they educate their children. That leads to the parental qualities needed, I guess, in children when they grow up.
I see. And what aspects of parenting do you think are missing in this nation?
I would say the lack of um, emotional attachment or things to do with emotional attachments because most of them are currently working, both mom and dad, so they don't really have that much of a connection with their children when it comes to emotion, especially when the children are going through puberty, emotional changes. They really need that love from their parents and family members. And due to the busy schedule and also all the working hours and technologies now, most of us are just on our phones all day, so that actually is like a barrier for the emotional health.
Do you think that parenting would require formal education?
um, I guess so. Maybe it can be added into our what is that syllabus in our schools. Yeah.
Do you believe that your parents provided you with adequate emotional support?
Yes, definitely. Because I'll admit during my puberty years, I was a bit rampant at times, those emotional changes, and they were always there supporting me, but at the same time educating me. They weren't just yes men or yes women around me. They were doing the job, right?
Do you believe Malaysian parents in general are too emotionally distant from their children?
It can be, especially in the newer generations. Like I mentioned earlier, it's just work stress and also children's too much on their phones, games. When a baby cries, they just hand over the iPad. Times have changed, and I think emotional is a big part of it. Emotional stress.
Should parents be paying more attention to their children's mental health?
Yes, definitely. I mean, mental health is such a big issue currently, and the lack of awareness of mental health. They just label everybody who have mental distress as golongan mental or just crazy in general. But there's a lot to it. There's depression. There's schizophrenia. There's actually so much to mental health, and just I guess the lack of awareness equals lack of understanding.
Do you think hitting your children is an effective way of disciplining them, and can it get too far?
I think it is still a good way, but yes, it can easily get too far. It can just turn into child abuse like this. I guess the parents need to discipline their children, and my parents did the same. They disciplined me by hitting me, right? But it wasn't that abuse like or made me depressed or whatever. It was I'm grateful for it actually.
All right. Do you think basic family planning should be taught to avoid financial difficulties?
Yeah, correct. I think financial difficulties, it needs that advice from parents so that children can get to know, life in general and how to help with financial issues.
Should parents be the first one to introduce their children to the knowledge about sex and reproductions, and do you think they do it enough?
I think I think parents they have a big responsibility to explain to their children about sex and about reproduction. Come on, it's a natural thing, and children deserve to know. Being repressed, being oppressed. Children grow up to be oblivious to their surroundings, to the sex, to reproduction. They become so naive to the point where once they know, they just go all out. They just go. I think it's good for parents to just give the basic knowledge that children should know about sex and reproduction. Just so that they know more about what's going on. Yeah.
Right. So, physical and emotional abuse. Do you believe that is rampant in our Malaysian culture? and why do you think it is so rampant if it is?
It is. I think you can see daily in newspapers, in TV news, abuse of children, child abuse. Also, I would just include child rape into it because why not? It's happening every day in Malaysia. Child rape, child abuse. Like I said earlier, the emotional stress of parents, working stress, long hours, they come, and whenever they just don't have patience anymore, and it just turns into child abuse, and it can ruin the child's future a lot more than what people think.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.